Have you ever wondered how websites like Amazon, Netflix, or even small business websites stay online 24/7 without owning a huge physical service? What if I told you that you can rent a powerful server online in just a few clicks and pay only for what you use? That's exactly what AWS EC2 does. In this video, I'm going to explain EC2 in the simplest way possible, so even if you are a complete beginner, you will understand it clearly by the end of this video. So first, let's understand what EC2 actually means. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. In simple terms, EC2 is a virtual server in the cloud. Instead of buying a physical computer server and keeping it in our office or home, AWS lets us run online whenever we need it. This means we can launch one server, 10 server, or even hundreds of servers in minutes. And the best part here is we pay only for what we use. Now, let me explain this with a very simple real life example. Think of EC2 like renting an house. Instead of building our own house from the scratch, we simply rent a ready to use house. In the same way, instead of buying a physical server hardware, we rent a virtual server from EC2, AWS EC2. Now the actual running server is called the EC2 instance. This instance can host our website, applications, our APIs, backend services, or even databases. Right. So, for example, if we want to host our company website, this EC2 instance becomes the machine that runs it. Before launching a house, we need a blueprint, right? So similarly, before launching an EC2 instance, we need something called an AMI. AMI stands for Amazon Mission Image. Think of it like a ready-made template. It already contains the operating system, software packages, and configurations required to start the server. So operating systems like Linux, Ubuntu, and pre-installed software like Apache, Docker. So all this being composed in an AMI image. So the best part here is we can make our own AMI too. In our own AMI, we can have our own application code, and we can just launch an EC2 instance from that AMI. Next comes the instance type. So this means simply the size and power of our server. Think of it like choosing between a small 1 BHK or even a large villa. A small server is enough for learning, testing, or hosting a small website. But if we have a high traffic production application, we may need a more powerful instance with higher CPU and memory. So here are the common family of the EC2 instance type. So most commonly used families are M and C, which is a general purpose and compute optimized, which is used for deploying our application codes. And the R and ID is the memory optimized and storage optimized, which is used for DBs. And the instance type is composed of the series, the generation, and the option. And the instance size varies like small, large, X large, and 2X large, and so on. So I can get you the complete AWS official documentation of the EC2 instance types. So now every house needs a storage room, right? Similarly, every EC2 instance needs storage. This is where EBS comes in. EBS stands for Elastic Block Storage, and think it of like a hard disk of our server. It stores our operating system, application files, logs, and data. Even if we stop our EC2 instance, our data remains safe because EBS is very persistent storage. But note here is if we terminate the EC2 instance, the EBS storage will also be deleted. So EBS comes in different types. These are the volume types. So GP3 and GP2 are the general SSD, and IOS is for the high performance, and STSC is for throughput optimized and low cost cold storage. We can deep dive in the further sessions on the EBS volume types. So now we have a key pair. So if we need to enter into a house, we need a key, right? So key pair acts like that. A key pair is used to securely log into our EC2 instance, and if it is not the correct key, we can't enter into our EC2 server. Always a EC2 key, AWS EC2 key pairs consist of two keys. One is the public key and the other one is the private key. The public key will be stored inside our EC2, and private key will be downloaded at the time of creation. So it will be downloaded as a PEM file. So we can't. The downloaded key must be safely stored in our local. Now every house needs a security, right? So this is where security groups comes in. Think of it like a security gate or a watchman. It controls who can enter the server and through which door. So um, security group have two types of rules. One is the inbound rule and outbound rule. And the inbound rule controls the traffic which is coming into the EC2 instance, and the outbound rule consists of the response that is sending out of the EC2 instance. The common example here is the port 22, which is SSH port, and port 80 is for the HTTP website access, and port 443 is the secured HTTPS traffic. So now imagine suddenly thousands of users visit our website. So at the time, one server may not be enough. This is where auto scaling group or ASG becomes very important. Think of it like a smart building manager. If more guests arrive, the manager opens more rooms. Similarly, ASG automatically launches more EC2 instance when traffic increases. And when traffic reduces, it removes extra servers to save cost. So this terminology is called scale out and scale in. Scale out means increasing the number of instances according to the traffic coming into our EC2, and scaling in is the reducing the EC2 instance according to the traffic. So let's have a quick recap. EC2 is a virtual server, and AMI is a template used to launch our EC2 instance, and instance type is our server size, and EBS is our storage for our EC2, and key pair is the login key used to log in into our EC2, and the security group is attached to our EC2, so it can determine who can enter and who can not enter our EC2, and ASG is the smart manager which controls the traffic. So why we use EC2? EC2 is really a fast deployment, and it is very cost effective and easily scalable, and it is available globally, and it is very secure. So with this, EC2 makes cloud servers very simple and scalable, and that's how Amazon EC2 works in the simplest way possible. Now you can think of EC2 as your own rented server in the cloud, just like a house that you can start, stop, scale, and secure anytime. If the explanation made EC2 easy for you, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Tech Career, because in this AWS beginner series, I am breaking down every cloud concept in simple real life examples. And in the next video, we are going to do a complete hands-on demo where I will show you how to launch our first EC2 instance step by step inside the AWS console. So don't miss that. It's going to be super practical and beginner friendly. See you in the next video. Thank you.